That's us. That's us. I went to the bathroom real quick, and I came back, and they're like, "Hey, you're on." Uh, Not really. No, that was the quickest, craziest game we saw, and I hate to admit it, but I saw 100 Thieves comp, and I was like, I don't like it. I don't like it. It had a requirement, and the requirement was they needed to pop off early. And based on Team Liquid's pressure that they've had throughout this series, and really throughout all Proving Grounds, and how much pressure they provide early on, it looked a little dismal to me. But that was clearly not the case, because 100 Thieves, what was that? It was 20,000 gold at 22 minutes.
Something like that.
That's nuts.
Yeah, it was something like that. And here you can see it just Gomsu also played out of his mind at this one. Into normally what's considered a pretty bad matchup unless you play aggressively. Hey! Getting 2 solo kills as a player who tends to play weak side top lane. I'm going to give him a lot of credit because I am someone who is actually normally really hard on Gomsu when he's not on tank. I love him weak side, but here he actually performed admirably.
That flash from Chad, I just gotta call that one out because it was a nice flash by Ayla to try to get the headbutt under tower, but the reaction time now coming out of 100 Thieves feels like what we were seeing from Team Liquid in the first 3 games.
Yeah, I mean, I'll back up a little bit because, you know, I was going a little bit, right?
Yeah, I
Because,
heard
like,
that.
you know, yes, Gomsu got the solo kill, but, like, Doko killed himself for the first one, right? It's undeniable that he was able to use it to great effect later in the game. But it's a situation where I feel like, you know, as we said, this was going to be a situation where either 100 Thieves had a complete stomp of a game, like we just saw, or this is going to be kind of a slow death from them because their composition doesn't necessarily play as well a little bit later on. Gnar should be ahead of the Renekton. Ryze is going to be able to free hit a lot of these melees that are going to be jumping into the middle, and it was going to be really difficult for 100 Thieves to play if they were not really far ahead. But that's what happens when you need to be really far ahead. You go for the wave 3 dive like we've constantly been asking for them to do. They're able to find this massive lead, and at that point it was no longer close.
Yeah, you can't shut that down. Like, I mean, again, 20k at 22 minutes, that's absolute insanity. And really unrecoverable when you're looking, you know, we were looking at like a 6k gold lead in 12 minutes. That, you know, Kangas mentioned 500 additional gold a minute, or 500 gold over the other team in a minute. And when you have 2 items being built up before the plates are even down, you know, it's really hard to stall that out. And I think Team Liquid Academy recognized that. They said, all right, you know what, we're doing what we can, but at this point it's kind of all lost. However, they've got a buffer. They won the first 2 games. They're still at match point now going into game number 4.
I think I kind of want to jump off of something that Cubby said during the cast. Like, oh, this kind of looked like a script, right? But it's a stage game, so you can't get out of it. So it's going to be really telling how much Team Liquid are actually going to be able to bounce back off of that, because a lot of teams will just look at us like, yeah, we lost it at 4 minutes. It's okay. Just kind of have some fun. Just make sure you're not tilted coming out of this game. And if they can do that, I think Team Liquid are still very strong looking at the next game. They are going to be on the red side of the map, which they've won both of the first 2 games. And if they're able to just, you know, play like they were able to play the first 2 games, should be able to clean this up relatively cleanly. But if they're not, if they're tilted, you know, we might be seeing a reverse sweep.
And this is something I've talked about many times.
That's it.
Red
I was literally going to ask for
red
that stat.
side,
I was
boom,
Got it.
8-1 now. 400 Thieves on that one. We still have Team Liquid at 8-4. They got 2 of those losses too against Golden Guardians recently in that previous series they had, but they also got 3 of them on red side. Both teams have been performing amazingly when on red side. So now that you're going back over there, and we already have seen, this brings me to my next point, is that Gomsu in a better, at least one that he opted into, knowing the Gnar was probably going to be picked on the other side, then getting a couple solo kills for himself. That is, I think, the 6th. The only reason I say think is because it could have been another one I missed in that game. Have to go back and recheck. But he had 4 beforehand, 2 for sure in that one. And that ties him actually with Dokla. Dokla has gotten 6 so far in Proving Grounds alone, and think of that. He hasn't been in it for very long. The fact that he already has 6 solo kills is actually pretty impressive, and now they're setting up to get him counterpick again. They're setting up Dokla to be the carry in the top side yet again for what countless times that they've now played with him.
Now, the other side of that, no pun intended, because we're talking about blue, the stats that you pulled up a little bit earlier, Magical, I think in between games 2 and 3 was the losing record that actually 100 Thieves has on the blue side. So while 8-1 looks really, really good for red side for 100 Thieves Academy, and TLA looking at 8-4 doesn't quite look as great for them, the losing stats for 100 Thieves Academy on the blue side are not, I mean, they're not good for that team. So hopefully they're able to recover a little bit from from that, and they now have to go back to what they focused on in the first 2 games, which is prioritizing who their first pick is going to be.
But I do want to also make sure to preface that this is also recency bias. We're looking at just Proving Grounds itself. When you look at the past and how these teams have played, one, you actually have seen that Team Liquid haven't had the best record on Red Side back in the playoffs itself, back in Academy, but also that we had a far better performance from 100 Thieves on Blue Side. So that is also, that is always just taken with a grain of salt. But here I think that you just have to make sure you're getting good matchups. When you're getting these good matchups and you're having more winning lanes for 100 Thieves, they're going to be able to bring this back. I think Lucian is going to be a pick that has to be considered. Even though I love the Rise, that game it showed that if you're not able to play properly around Rise and you have an Orianna that gets all these kills early on, the gloves are off, you take the jackets off, and we are now in a series.
I love it. I love it. Just in case you guys didn't know what taking the metaphorical jacket off, we get Mad Magical showing us the literal interpretation of that. But we are going to take one more quick break. When we come back, we're going to be popping right back over to those handsome faces in Kangas and Cubby to break down game number 4, potentially leading us out to a really full series here on Proving Ground. So don't go anywhere. We'll be back with game 4 very soon.
Hello and welcome back, everybody, as we are preparing for game number 4, pick and ban 100 Thieves. They got the red side, and yeah, everybody remembers what happened after that. But this time around, they are now back on blue side. Team Liquid get the side priority this time around. So what does 100 Thieves need to do? Because they did not look as good on blue side as they did on red.
I think one of the big parts about that was the fact that Chad Jungle being on the Trundle, we understand why it's such a high priority pick. Or takeaway, I should say, from Team Liquid. Because Team Liquid, Nori's 3-0 on it in the games he's played since he's gotten back on this roster. It was one of Armeo's best champions. Team Liquid plays with it very well. We understand why they don't want TL to have that. But we think that banning it instead of putting Chad Jungle on it might be what we learned from that last game, as the fact that he was on Nocturne and he had winning side lanes to play towards really benefited 100 Thieves Academy as they wiped the floor with Team Liquid in the third game, despite Team Liquid wiping the floor with 100 Thieves in the first 2. So all of a sudden, we're here. This series is going very quickly. We're already at game 4 before the 3-hour mark. But we have ourselves a little bit more competitive landscape after that last one.
But pick and ban is ready. So as we hop into that, I want to double down on that point. I think get rid of the Trundle, pick the Rise. That's what I'd be saying to 100 Thieves right now. You're on the blue side, so you get that first priority pick. And Ryoma hasn't gotten that Rise yet. Like, it just hasn't worked out for them. So I think that getting him onto that priority champion could be the strategy that would work for 100 Thieves now that they're on the blue side, because they got to find some way to, break this blue side curse that we've had in the series.
And that Cassio ban, Kangas, if they take away that and Trundle, that would spell out a Rise first pick to me, and that would make a lot of sense for the game plan that you're painting. One of the reasons we're talking so much about Rise, of course, is it has been taken by TLA, but also 7 plays for Ryoma throughout this tournament. He is 5-2 on the champion. And now Team Liquid have to make a decision. Do they take away Ryze, or do they keep on banning out that Rakan from Poom, who is 4-0 on Rakan in the tournament? And fun fact, Rakan is 28-12 in Proving Ground Spring. It has a 70% win rate. And Team Liquid do not want to give that over, as Poom would happily first pick that Rakan instead. It's going to be the Ryze for 100 Thieves Academy.
Yeah, so they fear the Rakan more than the Ryze, and that means 100 Thieves Academy finally get what they used to beat Team Liquid in their previous upper bracket finals. But wow, Team Liquid, they just go right for the Aurelia, and they actually go for the Nocturne.
So, Inori's written guides about this champion quite recently, something that he is very comfortable on. The Aurelia, though, says a lot more about how TL want to play out this game, and it yells side lanes, and making sure that you have a winning lane with Aurelia into Ryze, and supporting that with the Nocturne. We're now going to have to see how 100 Thieves are able to support that, and they are actually going to wait on that jungle pick. They will take the Renekton, try and get a winning matchup into Aurelia, but this low-range composition from 100 Thieves immediately gets punished by an insta-locked Ziggs. I really like this out of Team Liquid Academy, is they find some magic damage in their composition. It also find a way to punish champions that don't like to walk forward into minefields. That Ziggs is able to put down a lot of zone control already in the side of TLA.
And I talked about in the last time that we saw 100 Thieves draft that Nocturne. Now, obviously, the game got a little crazy with it, but when there's a mid laner that doesn't have a lot of mobility is when I think that you can actually go for it into the Ryze specifically, because Ryze also wants to go for the sideline plays later on into the game. So Ziggs bomb on top of that. Aurelia to sideline on top of that. Team Liquid Academy have a lot of tools right now, and you already highlighted the low range of 100 Thieves Academy. They're not interested in giving more range, so they also ban away the Jace, as Team Liquid Academy do take out that Kindred. Because, yeah, you can really pinch the jungle champ now.
And, I mean, if you want to get really crazy on the side of Team Liquid Academy, you could still go for something like Galio's support and Camille top. I know it's not a great matchup in Renekton, but you could form that dog pile to really make sure that Ryze does not get to move, does not get to function in this game. Also, I know that Ryze is a pretty decent matchup into LeBlanc, but still Harry's one of Harry's most played champions throughout the tournament, and his most played champion throughout this entire split. Still could be an option for Team Liquid if they want to throw the LeBlanc in there. They talked about the priority on that mid-jungle duo so much, and it still would be an option, and one that would try and ensure that you have a lot of kill pressure on the Ryze, being able to chain those tethers with chains from LeBlanc.
We're going to see a support 9 times out of 10 right here from Team Liquid Academy, though. So we'll have to wait and see what they want to put Harry on till after they see what 100 Thieves Academy's rest of the draft looks like here. I wouldn't hate the LeBlanc. It's a lot of upfront damage then.
A lot, actually.
So they're going to go for the... Okay, never mind. I don't think that's the support lock-in. So
no, I like this a lot. I was talking through the options, you can put Aurelia top for Dokla, but this is something that Harry, he's yet to play it in this tournament, but he's 4-1 on Aurelia throughout the summer. And so him returning to these melee assassins is something that Harry's really good at. His Lee Sin, his Aurelia, his Yasuo, all very clean champions. And now when you take the Ornn top and you have that timer for Renekton where if he doesn't have a significant lead by level 9, he just gets smacked around in that lane. I really like the draft that TL is pulling out here on the red side. I think it's going to give 100 Thieves a lot of headaches and really force 100 Thieves to commit to this early game, commit to the playmaking as they take Viego for Chad and looking to be a blind Alistar here for Poom.
Okay, and that's a concern, is the early game and then the Viego locked in. I see Viego as a champion that requires a little bit of setup to actually execute to the fullest extent, at least when I've seen at professional levels of play, the Viegos have those insane pop-offs. And I'm not 100% sold that this is a comp that I would really entrust a Viego to, but 100 Thieves, they want it, and it will come down to what TL lock in last here, because they do still have their support pick. Okay, we just get the Nautilus, so nothing too spicy there, but yeah, I mean, Gauntlet thrown and Ori taking away Chad's Nocturne, that's exciting. We get the lane swapped Aurelia, that's exciting. Team Liquid Academy showing a lot of flexibility in their draft as well.
And I really like the setup for TL. It feels like something that's really important when you take a matchup like Aurelia into Ryze mid. It's your ability to support that Aurelia, your ability to hover, make sure that she has members on her side, make sure that she has some vision, because she has to play up in the lane in order to win it. You have a winning side lane in Nautilus Ziggs versus Xayah and Alistar. That is a lane that will get zoned out by Ziggs, one that Poom's going to look to ditch very quickly. And Nocturne, of course, he wants to power farm, but he can get involved in mid lane at any time with that Paranoia. So it really feels like TLA have a comp set up for Harry's success, and Harry has proven that he can carry when he gets these melee assassins. So we're going to have to see if he can carry this one out and get a 3-1 as Team Liquid would like to end it here.
And the Dokla on a tank as well, allowing the team to step up and be the primary carries. We love to see that too. We will be sending it to another short break before we load into the actual game here for game number 4. Let's see if 100 Thieves, this draft, can do it and bring us to that game 5, or TL will close out the series after this. And loading on to Summoner's Rift for the 4th time today. Team Liquid Academy still up 2-1 in this series. 100 Thieves Academy were able to claim that last game, keep their series and their championship dreams alive. Different adaptation coming in from Team Liquid. They have a very unique draft for game 4. And 100 Thieves, a couple of tools that need to come online in order for them to execute here, Cubby.
I think for 100 Thieves, I really want to see if they play to one of the strengths that has gotten them to this point, which is good early game plans and going for these aggressive 3-wave dives. You have Renekton and Ryze as both side laners, combo that we have seen teams like EG and LCS use to great success, and being able to attack champions early and try and snowball the game from there. I think it's really important that 100 Thieves are able to do this, because as the game goes on, you are staring down Ornn into Renekton, Ziggs into a lower range composition, and TLA scale to oblivion. So I think more important than ever that 100 Thieves are able to set the pace, set the tempo early. That will come off the back of Ryoma finally getting his hands on this Ryze and seeing if he can funnel any sort of plays into side lane. Something that 100 Thieves does very well off the back of their mid laner.
They did that multiple times in the winners finals against Team Liquid when Ryoma got the Ryze, hitting that level 6, realm warping Shad into the bot lane, into the top lane. The mid jungle would roam together with this pick and then try to make these dives happen. You got to get to that point too, and we had already highlighted during the pick and ban. And Ori's got the Nocturne, so he can also cheat some of that tempo and can just paranoia into whatever lane the Ryze goes to. So eyes on mid lane, eyes on jungle, of course. And, I mean, what a series so far, Cubby. Like, Team Liquid showing their dominance in the first two, 100 Thieves clapping back. And game 4 that can be kind of tough to call.
And right now, we see both junglers pathing to protect the top lane early. Honori is going for a very inefficient clear, doing the Krug's third, leaving him furthest away from the rest of his camps, but knows that he has to be up here for this timer. And he's guessing correctly, because Chad has gone Red Raptor's Gromp. It is the quickest clear you can get to this top lane at the highest amount of health. And Honori is actually waiting as they're going to try and counter this dive.
Nogla kind of messed up the combo there. He didn't get the full Billow's Breath or the auto afterwards. Gamsu operating with a little bit of health here. Ryoma's coming as well. We got 3 champs diving too. They see Honori, but 100 Thieves Academy are committing. Teleport will come in. Dokla's down. First blood to Gamsu. Another critical first kill for 100 Thieves.
We talked about the importance of utilizing the power of both those solo laners, the gank assist they bring, and attacking TLA early to prevent that scaling. The perfect start for 100 Thieves Academy. As they get the kill, they have TP advantage mid to try and rinse and repeat this kill. And this is just textbook game planning, right? You talk about this as a team. As you are loading into the game, saying, these are how my waves play out. This is what we can do. 100 Thieves properly identify that and put Ornn behind in a matchup that he scales very well into. That will be very important for the side of 100 Thieves, as now Gamsu keeps on extending that timer for the amount of time in the game that he will have priority in the top lane, where he will be able to make plays and help assist his team make plays, as they've gotten him early kill, early pickaxe, and now we're going to have to see if Gamsu can do as much as he did with it in the last game.
A straight up pickaxe advantage over the Ornn. Now, of course, we can still get some items in lane, but yeah, this is a great start for the Renekton. You take those if you can. And now it also slowed down Inori, because the jungler, the Nocturne, you already talked about the inefficient path, doing that to protect your top lane.
Yep.
But when you don't succeed in that, now still behind in the jungle, clear to Chad.
Yeah, has to go attack those bot camps, and putting Nocturne behind, very important, that race to 6, having access to that paranoia. That's why people take this champion.
Advantage already. Conqueror procs, Dokla still has the flash because he didn't commit it during the dive earlier, but Gamsu can just do this at any time, just has full control over the wave.
And the reason he's doing it is because he has it frozen in front of his turret, so he's stepping in front of the wave to utilize his item advantage, and he wants to try and force Dokla to TP back to get that TP advantage. As we have talked about with 100 Thieves, one of the things they're so good at is getting TP advantages and then using those to really enable Luger and Poom to play up and play aggressive. The state of the wave where those two bot laners really shine. So, unfortunately, Gamsu not able to maintain that freeze, but now has a slow wave stacked. And Ryoma has TP, so they could TP to this wave and force Dokla off. And Dokla, kind of sensing that, is playing with whether or not he wants to recall TP back to this lane here. That wave will crash. Inori is up here to hover. Good pathing from Inori to make sure that Dokla doesn't get dove yet again.
Yeah, the Nocturne, despite not getting anything done to prevent that top lane dive, at least has gotten back to the jungle, has gotten back to that power farming, and caught up to the Viego. So level 5 here, scaling towards that level 6. That first paranoia will be really big for Team Liquid Academy to stop the momentum. You said that word a couple times in the last game. 100 Thieves Academy are riding that momentum forward here into game number 4 with that first blood already. If Team Liquid Academy can make a big paranoia play, I could just stop 100 Thieves right in their tracks.
A nice thing for Harry here. He's going to pull the wave and force the TP out of Ryoma. Needs a few more stats for the Rise, and actually surprisingly TP's into the wave. Chad's here, so he's able to do this. Harry does ding 6. And this is a timer with Ryoma burning that TP where he could potentially look as Harry's in trouble.
As the flash misses the stun, Ayla's coming in, but so is Poom! And 100 Thieves Academy with another kill.
Chad
going for more. Ayla under turret. Ryoma gets it. Chad with the resets will trade. As Ayla gets the kill, gets the gold, but 100 Thieves, again, keeping the pressure up in this series.
This is what this team does best. It's forcing the tempo early, and while Chad does force a little bit too hard and does trade himself out, this is still where 100 Thieves Academy look at their best, look in their comfort zone. And watch this flash from Chad, this young player. First split playing competitive, showing some of those hands that got him here as he flashes over the stun to land his own, guaranteeing the play connects onto Harry and also syncing up with his support Poom. Looking good. Yeah, he goes down here pushing a little bit too hard. A little bit of a mistake coming out from the young jungler, but still love to see the mechanics on this Viego champion that has been so good for him in this tournament. 3-1 in 4 plays and has been a standout, and he will need to be a standout in this game because Viego's really the only champ that bridges the doomsday scaling that TLA will possess, right? Because if he is able to get a kill and get a reset, it does help quite a bit in these fights where 100 Thieves will struggle as this game goes on if it is on even footing, but fortunately for them, they have made some very nice plays early to get themselves ahead.
I mean, are you going to expect the player named Chad to not go for the dive under the turret there?
That's true. It's for the brand, you know? It's good branding.
Exactly, yeah. He's got to stay consistent. There's LCS scouts watching this one right here. But should hit level 6 off of these wolves. There we go. Now has the ultimate on the Viego, can look for those. And Inori has been level 6 for a little bit. Hasn't found that paranoia yet. And that is the big tool that I see as Team Liquid's avenue back into this game if they're going to find one. So unfortunately, eyes on Inori, eyes on the sub coming in here. What decision does Nocturne make next?
Well, it looks like the decision is to contest this Rift Herald, as it has been started and pulled by 100 Thieves, but this is identified by Team Liquid. It is at half, as Inori makes his way, and Ayla and Poom actually walking side by side. Now a TP burn from Ziggs.
This is going to be Team Liquid with more members here. Call the Forge God used. Bullying 100 Thieves off, and now Jan in a rough position at 1v1 in Ryoma. Nobody's peeling for the Ziggs. Chad getting the resets here. Jan will go down. Ryoma picks it up. And Chad gets out. Dokla trying to chase him down. Gamsu's here. They will kill Chad, but at what cost? A double kill to Gamsu, a double kill to Ryoma.
And it's an ace because Ayla was trying to rotate from the bot lane, but Poom and Luger find Nautilus off screen, and Team Liquid not respecting the early power that 100 Thieves Academy possessed. Some of the same mistakes that 100 Thieves Academy were making in games 1 and 2, but Kangas, the script has been flipped completely by the side of 100 Thieves Academy, as these fights, their ability to sync up and play together has been so good in these last 2 games. They find themselves with yet another critical lead.
An interesting time for a replay here, as the Nocturne was catching Renekton top lane, but assuming nothing happens there. But yeah, it's Team Liquid. They have more people. They feel confident because Jan teleports in, and they had Ayla roaming up earlier. But you're right, Poom and Luger, they catch Ayla before he gets there.
But they're also not respecting the power of Gamsu, right? They have more people, but Gamsu got so fed early in this game, and in the Renekton where he's just able to get in the middle of the team, which the team doesn't have that many abilities left because they were trying to burn down that Rift Herald, and just pop the ult, pop the Cole to Meek, and tear through the side of Team Liquid Academy. It's once again 100 Thieves Academy. Yeah, he's taking advantage of the timers of where these champions are strong, and it feels like that's been the difference really early in this series and in these games.
Getting Gamsu on the carries, getting him off of the tanks. And now Dokla onto the tank is just getting shoved in by this Renekton. I mean, has done a decent job of at least, like, still roaming where the Renekton is, but you highlighted Renekton just further ahead. Gamsu is doing more at those big skirmishes early on. 8-2 on the scoreboard now. A 4,000 gold lead. 100 Thieves want more. They see Harry here, teleporting in. Paranoia pop, but it's a defensive one. The resets for Viego. Throws out the Heartbreaker. Chad chasing down Ryoma. Will get the kill. Poom's joined in. And even Inori will fall. 100 Thieves Academy with 2 more kills.
And it's them starting the play, getting things going. And also, credit to Gamsu. He TP'd before Paranoia came down. Paranoia blocks the enemy team from TPing the minions because they can't see, right? You aren't able to TP when Paranoia's up. He was able to do it beforehand. That's a big difference to make sure this play goes to the side of 100 Thieves Academy, as they will use that to pick up some side lanes and take down this dragon. First drag of the game, going over to 100 Thieves. A little bit late, but I think the fact they have 4.5k gold in their pockets over TLA, it's well worth it overall.
Cubby, like we're almost on track to last game. It was a 500
come on,
advantage per minute.
They can't do it again.
About 400 per minute right now. It's 11 minutes with a 5,000 gold lead here. 100 Thieves Academy are completely turning this series around in their favor with aggressive play, decisive play, and unique adaptations in their draft. This is what you want to see in a developing team. This is what you want to see in an academy team with players that are making arguments for why the LCS should be scouting them for next season.
We have to take a deep breath here because TLA, they're grouped up with Poom. He wants it. We have another fight.
Goes for the engage. I don't know if the rest of the team are ready, though. He does have the ultimate. He's buying a lot of time. Stopwatch as well. Luger is just walking forward. Ryoma as well. Chad, very low on health, but he doesn't go down. And it's Inori that falls first. Luger chasing him in. Ryoma with the Realm Warp. And Team Liquid Academy getting engaged on again. 100 Thieves winning it again. They just can't lose right now.
And it's Ryoma really showing us why he didn't have his hands on Ryze the first 2 games, why it was such a high priority for TLA to take that pick away, because his ability to pump out damage and position in these fights and then Realm Warp the rest of his team to push the tempo, this is what we know and love from 100 Thieves Academy. They're doing it so well in this game, and I know we're giving a lot of props across the map, but Ryoma is sitting at 5-0-5 on this Ryze, being involved in everything, and look at the damage he's able to pump out in this fight once he gets involved.
Now, we get a replay of this fight. You remember Ryoma from LCS.
That's
this
another
is what
4.
he's doing in Academy. Insane mechanics on this pick. He's known for it. It's banned against him in most of his games, and now we're seeing why. 100 Thieves playing through these rotations beautifully. And I was at first questioning Poom's engage. Like, okay, do you have the backup to actually go for this, but Alistar buys so much time that it works out for them. Now, again, the gold lead, it's mounting, Cubby. I'm sweating. 7K at 13.5 minutes.
And the landscape of this series, Kangas, I mean, the last game was like, that game was over like 5 to 8 minutes in. Like, let's be honest about that one, right? Like, it was such a bad loss where it's like, all right, you know what, TLA, they can go back to the drawing board, get a different draft, try and paint something different. But it really feels like the team with more early tools is just able to do so much with it. As, oh boy, another play.
Going for another play. There's Paranoia. Harry
What a
with
block.
Poom under turret, but Poom still is a tanky cow. Commits onto Inori. Nocturne down again. The Thieves dominating right now. No matter what lane they go to, no matter what the play they go for, they're finding successful engages and successful plays.
It's small, but I actually love Ryoma's flash over the wall there just to join back with his team and help really pump out the damage to take another kill on the board for the Thieves as 13 kills in 14 minutes for them. Not to mention the fact that Gamsu gets some free time on that top lane turret, almost knocking that one all the way down by himself. And with the plates falling, post 14-minute mark, will indeed get the first brick for himself on this Renekton as he continues to be a menace. And who would have thought in this series, Gamsu, a player historically known for his tank play and has demonstrated amazing tank play in this tournament, it's him shifting over to the Renekton and banning out some of those counters that has really helped change the landscape for 100 Thieves Academy in this series.
I mean, he even was willing to first pick Jax. He has not played a competitive game of Jax, and he played that in the upper bracket finals against Dokla there in that pivotal Game 5. Gamsu's journey back into League of Legends has been nothing but impressive to watch here. And 100 Thieves, I don't even know what to call this side. This is just like Blitzkrieg League of Legends. Like, don't even give your opponent a single chance to breathe. Just keep moving forward, keep taking fight after fight. This Herald, you have to imagine, will turn into another turret with how they've been playing.
I mean, it makes sense, like TLA did this too with Renekton and Alistar. There's some pretty beefy tanks, Keep the tanks going. You can TP the tanks around. That's pretty OP. That helps with the Blitzkrieg.
It certainly does. It's like airdropping them in.
Yeah,
Dropping them
Ryoma
down.
with the airdrops. It's something else.
And Team Liquid Academy, unfortunately, seem to be France in this scenario. Might be throwing up that white flag here shortly with this gold deficit. But if they're looking for a way back into it, as I have to give a verbal apology to my roommate, who is, in fact, French, what is Team Liquid's approach into this game? If there's a chance, if there's a hope for them to come back here, what kind of plays do they need to start looking for?
They'll throw Rowie in a side lane and have three members surrounding her, not from the enemy team.
Yeah, this is kind of the opposite of what I was hoping we could kind of transition that point into. But look at that. The Blitzkrieg continues for 100 Thieves.
I think that throwing Harry in a side lane and maybe just having, Inori and Ayla hover, maybe they can find a positive play, but it sure doesn't feel like 100 Thieves is slowing down anytime soon. And I think something that Joshi even brought up on the desk in one of these series, early on was a lot of the plays from 100 Thieves Academy, if they were attempting, with them not having members there, that might have cursed them.
Team Liquid, maybe get Gamsu. That's a lot of lockdown
Drinker.
and damage if they can get it. But Gamsu making it work for it. Gamsu with the 1-for-1 trade in a 1v3. And Jan's just going to go down too. Luger chase him down. Okay, he's got some movement to work with right now. Luger doesn't have sums. Jan is unfortunately on the wrong side of Summoner's Rift. So, can he get away from Chad? Can he get away from Poom? Utilizing the Zig's abilities, and I think he can actually get out of this one.
He can get an execute off. We'll see if it's enough time for him to not get a kill, as he's going to ace tank the turret.
Executed.
It is. All right.
All right.
You take the small wins,
Yeah. I mean, Luger was taking a lot of damage. Maybe he could have actually looked to kill Luger.
He wasted
right
some time. It's no gold.
True.
Dragon does still go over to 100 Thieves Academy and instead, but we are actually going to get a second mode of, let's see, 1v1, 2, 3 members here for Gamsu, as, channeling some of that Overwatch tank ability coming out here for the top laner 100 Thieves Academy.
Yeah, Ayla even
That's
throws
one.
out the depth charge just to help get an assist on there. Unfortunately, does not save Inori. And it's crazy, because this is Grand Finals, Cubby. And, like, the swing in momentum is just, you don't see this.
If there's one thing that we learned from Academy and some of the format changes that we had with the best of twos, it's really that these teams were not afraid to throw down for the entire season. We saw a lot of games that, were over a kill a minute. A lot of teams taking big risks because you could bounce back in the best of two. Now in the best of 5, we're still seeing a lot of those big risks and watching these teams throw down. And certainly seems to have contributed to what has been a rather one-sided game in a close series now. But this game appears to be one-sided for Thieves Academy. And we sure are feeling like we're going to 5, as it is a 10k gold lead emerging here for the Thieves on the blue side. And finding a blue side win of the series also very important, as Mad Magical has talked a lot about in the desk, is the red side win rates for both of these teams. They're very high.
The TLA are not done yet. They still look for plays. Like, he's still half health. He's taking 2 rotations of spells right now. Again, the same 3v1, but it's not fair fight. 100 Thieves sending in the reinforcements. Gamsu still alive. Harry chasing him down, but the rest of TLA have gotten baited in. Gamsu just will not die! 100 Thieves, its top laner, survives the onslaught. And this might be another ace. Jan's caught out in the mid lane. Ryoma and Shad will make it so. Another ace for 100 Thieves.
I cannot believe that Gamsu survived that fight. He played it so well on the Renekton. Can't wait for the replay to check out some of those micro mechanics coming out from the ex-Overwatch world champion. Always an Overwatch world champion, given history. Now showing up in Game 4, 2 games in a row where his team needs him. And this is the experience you can pick up from other games, playing at the highest level. Gamsu is not shaken at all on the big stage, as when the pressure is on, when it matters most, he's the one coming up big, as he buys all the time to survive. And then, look at this, flashes over the wall from Aurelia, and dashes to dodge out on the stun, gets the empowered stun, gets the takedown health, which helps from Triumph, and is able to actually take down Aurelia in that fight. As Gamsu can't go down, the Thieves can't go down in this game, and Kangas, we are sprinting towards that Game 5.
This is insanity, Cubby. This is the Grand Championships for Proving Grounds. And this is 100 Thieves down 0-2 in the series, now about to finish 2 games faster than Game 1 as they get the Baron. Now looking for another fight onto Team Liquid. Poom just can't die. Team Liquid completely shut off by one Alistair. They throw out the Paranoia. Nori's looking for it, but with Harry already down, you know that the play's done. You know that 100 Thieves are walking away with this victory, with the confidence of an insane reverse of momentum throughout a series. I don't think I've ever seen anything like this in all of competitive League of Legends history. This massive of a comeback here in a best of 5. Like, they might just set the pace here. I mean, last one they ended within a minute's time from now. Can they push with this Baron?
And this feels like, even though it's a bit of a reverse script, a similar feel to how the winners finals went, where it was a close 5-game series, but every game was one-sided until Game 5.
They're going for it. They're fighting again. Right now, it was Dokla that walked forward, and Dokla goes down. Boom doesn't even need the ultimate. He's still tanky enough. Harry will get one. That's a shutdown. But Gamsu's teleported in. Gamsu's on to everybody. 1v4 over the wall. The Realm Warp in from 100 Thieves. They want to speed run this series on the second half. They got a little under a minute right now. The last game, I'm checking it now. I want to see. It was around the 22-minute mark. Okay, they're not going to go for it. I thought they would try for the end, but
take a deep breath, Kangas. We need to make sure, you know, the gold lead doesn't go awry. We need to make sure that we take this next dragon, take away any win conditions that TLA have come back in this game, but it feels like the way it's going to be 100 Thieves taking this one out. And what an impressive...
Here, man.
I am, man. I mean, this game's pretty wrapped up, so, you know, we got to start prepping for Game 5, and I guess our producers don't like that. Is going to try and hype us back up a little bit more with this replay, as the Dragon will be secured by 100 Thieves off screen in the bottom left, over third. And we're going to watch 100 Thieves. Poom walking up to Dokla and pressing down smash as he throws Bjorn into the rest of his team. Harry is able to secure one, but it's just not enough, as Thieves, Gamsu, this team looking strong, wanting to take the finals to 5, as Team Liquid just haven't been able to find their footing with these 2 drafts where they did opt in for more scaling. Not respecting the power of 100 Thieves early, and this is what happens when you opt for those early fights, give those increased gold bags over to the Thieves, and this is what they can do with it.
We have passed the 22-minute and 29-second record that was set in that last game, so we're into, you know, later mid-game territory. It's still blitzkriegly fast here from 100 Thieves. and they do still have such a massive lead. You have to be imagining that we're going to a game 5 right now. 16K taking down these turrets here. Team Liquid, they got to go all the way back to the drawing board, figure out, okay, where did the series get away from us? How do we bring it back in a game 5? Because we're going there, everybody. 100 Thieves Academy are on this in him. Don't have the Baron anymore, so let's see if they actually push for the end right now. They could look for it with the super. Oh, they're realm warping the supers into the bottom lane, and Luger even avoids the Ornhorn. Liquid, they don't have a big engage tool. Ayla misses the hook. And still walk forward. Paranoia pop. This is Team Liquid.
Luger's not here.
They got to get onto the back line. Maybe get onto Ryoma, but he's just kiting so well. They can't kill Ryoma. This Rise. 3-chip knockup from Dokla, but Gobsu's the real threat. We knew it all along. Luger finally joins in. Ryoma gets another one. And that's it, everybody. We're going to game 5. The 15th game in the postseason between these two teams, always finding each other at the top of competition here. 100 Thieves Academy striking back with the reverse sweep in their sights, and Team Liquid will need to find some way to stop it. We got a game 5.
It's a trilogy fight, baby. What would it be if the first two went to 5 and the third one did not, as 100 Thieves deliver the last 2 games in dominant fashion, even more dominant than the first 2 games that TLA put up against 100 Thieves. And now we are left in a game 5 with so many questions. What are the adaptations going to be in draft? What side does Team Liquid want to take? Are they going to hard commit for early game, go back to what won them game 1 or 2? Or will we have another switch up coming from these teams? They've shown that they can be flexible. But overall, the resonating message is early game is king in this series. It feels like the team that has the better early game has taken the first 4. And we're going to have to see if that stays true, or if a team does opt for late game and start respecting the power of their opponents early, because TLA did not do that in the last 2 games. And that's why 100 Thieves made these look so one-sided.
If I had to give a couple predictions here, don't think Ryoma's getting Rise again. And maybe even Gobsu not getting some carries as well, because he's showing what he's able to do if he gets that kind of lead. We're not going to waste any more time, though. We're going to send it to a short break here so the analysts can break down what happened in that game, but more importantly, what's happening in this series, because we are going to game 5 to determine who are your Proving Grounds champs after this.